Hello, this is Omi Naruzi with Team SideScroller, and this is our fourth sprint progress report. We'll start off with me. For my first user story for this sprint, I had, as a player, I want enemies to drop items that replenish my number of projectiles or health so that I have the chance of not running out. And the acceptance criteria was when the game is open and the player kills an enemy, there should be a random chance that the enemy drops an item that falls to the ground that replenishes the player's related resources upon collision with the player. I'm going to kill some enemies and see if I can get someone to drop something. Nope. That one didn't. No. Nope. And there's a pickup for shurikens. So run into that, and my shuriken count is replenished. And here we are, we have a heart pickup, and that replenishes a heart of health. And there is a fireball pickup. And unfortunately I died, but I believe I've covered all of them. For my second user story this sprint, I had, as a player, I want a fireball to shoot away from me when I press the B button so that I can kill several enemies regardless of type. The acceptance criteria was when the game is open and the player pressed B, a fireball should be launched and thrown away from the player, killing all enemies that it collides with. And here we are again on the game screen. And if I press the B button, I launch a fireball that goes through all enemies it collides with and kills them.
Hello, this is Micah McKinnon. I had the following user stories for Sprint 4. My first user story is as a player, I want a dialogue to appear when I press the back button so that I can change options or just take a break. The acceptance criteria for my first user story is when the game is open and the player presses the back button, a pause menu dialog should appear with options. Here we are on the game screen. I'll go ahead and click on the back button. As you can see, this brings up the pause menu dialog with different options. My final user story for this sprint is as a player, I want to have the option to either resume or exit the game from the pause screen so that I can choose whether or not to continue with the game. And the acceptance criteria for that user story is when the game is open and the pause menu is open, there should be options to either resume or exit the game. I'll go ahead and select resume game. As you can see, the game does resume, and I will click on the back button once more, and this time I'll select exit game. This brings up a dialog to ask if we're sure we want to exit. I'll select yes, and as you can see, the game does exit.
Hello, my name is Tyrell Tachibana, and today I'll be going over my fourth sprint. Now, under user stories and audio functionality, I have, as a player, I want background music to play as soon as the start menu appears so that it can be stimulated during all portions of the game. And the acceptance criteria for that would be when the app is launched, the background music should start and continue to play when the game is opened. Now I'm going to bring in my Android emulator to show that to you. So you can see all the apps here that are installed, and I'll click on Donzo, and you can hear the music start. Now I'm going to hit start, and you'll notice that the game is still playing music even through all loading screens. I'm only going to play for a couple seconds here to show you that the music continues to play. Okay, now I'm going to show you the second portion of my sprint, which is that as a player, I want to have an option in the pause menu to turn off the background music so that I do not get annoyed. And the acceptance criteria for that user story is that when the game is open and the player pauses the game, there should be an option for turning the background music off that, when pressed, disables the background music. And I'm going to once again bring in my Android emulator to show that to you. Okay, let me open up my list of applications here. I'll show you that the music starts. You can hit start and rotate the screen. Okay, I'm just playing along here. Doo -doo -doo. Wow, this music's really annoying. I wish I could turn it off. Oh, wow. There it is. And I can resume the game. Isn't that nice? The music is gone. And that should be the acceptance criteria. Thank you.
This sprint I worked on audio functionality. The first user story, as a player I want a sound effect to play when an enemy dies so that the game feels more realistic. The acceptance criteria for this, when the game is open and an enemy dies, a related sound should play during its death animation. So when we click start here, right, and this enemy up here dies, you can hear that sound, the air, which was the death animation. So the second story, as a player I want sound effects to play when the user performs an action so that the game feels more realistic. The acceptance criteria for this, when the game is open and the player performs any action, a related sound should play. So we've heard some of the sounds, but let me go through them. So resume game, we can slash, blow fire, and then throw the attacking weapons. And each one has a unique sound, as you heard. The third user story that I worked on was, as a player I want to have an option in the pause menu to turn off the sound effects so that I don't get annoyed. The acceptance criteria for this one is when the game is open and the player pauses the game, there should be an option for turning the sound effects off that when pressed disables the sound effects. So if we go here and turn sounds off and then resume game, you can tell that the sound is off. And we left the music on, but there's no sound effects. Thanks.